Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
We are so excited to have Johnetta Paye, who is a real estate attorney and consultant, on our show today. I mean, wasn't that a phenomenal interview, Andressa?
It was very cool.
Yeah, we covered so much with her. I think one thing that stood out to me the most that I think that you all will be so appreciative to learn more about is crowdfunding. There's a lot of crowdfunding platforms out there, online platforms, what have you, or offline platforms, but it's a new space and there's a lot to learn about it. And so we go into a lot about the fund. She has helped build a multi-million-dollar fund that she is an owner of, one of the owners of. And she talks a lot about how she did it and, the things you want to look out for, the things that might be red flags, and just, a lot around crowdfunding. So just so amazing having someone like at the front lines who actually has created one to really tap into.
Yeah. And she also talks about step backs that are strategic that can take you farther than what you do. And that's something that we don't talk much. And I truly think that it's crucial in our lives to sometimes take a step back in order to go even further. So enjoy the episode, ladies, and please let us know what you think about it.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show, where we're on a mission to support all kinds of women across the globe to help them live a financially free and balanced life. And that's really what we're up to with all the different things that we're doing. So thank you for being here with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, sharing your time with us, because we know how valuable time is. And there's like a gazillion podcasts out there. So the fact that you're listening to this, thank you. Thank you for your support and thank you for being here. We have Johnetta on our interview today. We are so excited that you're here with us. So welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you guys today.
Yeah, we're really excited to get into her story. Selfishly, Andressa and I are really excited to hear everything she possibly has to say. So awesome. Before we jump into your story, Johnetta, Andressa, what is up? What is burning to share with our community here?
Yeah. So I want to pick back on what you just said about how we spend our time, right? So yesterday, I went out for dinner. We meet every single month. We made the commitment to meet for dinner or a quick meal, something every single month.
Great.
And I didn't do this in the past. I didn't spend time with my core, friends. And I see oh my gosh, I couldn't be happier knowing that I'm also growing and having a great foundation with the friends that I really care about. I want to spend time with Liz. I want to spend time with the friends that I really care about. However, on those conversations, we don't go just like, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Great. It doesn't cut. It doesn't do anything for me. Those really, I want people that are really real, that say the bad, the ugly, the good, the wins. So we always have this thing that we go like one by one, kind of like, okay, what's going on? And we jump into brainstorming. Okay, what can we do? There's one friend of ours that is moving to another state. She's feeling overwhelmed about what's the next step. So I feel good that we can give her the support and vice versa. So think about, ladies that are listening, how you're spending your time, who you're spending your time with. And this is like a win-win situation, is both ways. If you're having friends that only complain about their lives, it's just it doesn't add, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just like, okay, here's what's going on. And let's think about solutions or ways to resolve it. And also share the the positives.
Everyone needs a friend like you, Andressa. Like you're not going out to dinner with Andressa talking about the weather or talking about your favorite Netflix show.
No, that's
You're
not
gonna
me.
like Andressa's gonna hold you like, what's going on, Liz? How's it going? You look a little unsettled, I have
Your frequency, right? Liz, your frequency is a little off. What's going on? Tell me.
But you need friends like that. I think there's something of value to, right? That you have people in your life that won't just take the surface level, right? There's a realness. There's things all of us are dealing with.
Listen, I can bullshit around too. Don't get me wrong.
No, I know you do.
But majority of the time, I care. I really care. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great reminder for us. How do we spend our time? And we're excited to spend our time here with Johnetta because she's just got so many different things that she's up to and we want to dive into. So as we like to, kind of kick things off with all of our awesome women that are on the show with us is what led you to get involved in real estate investing? What led you in that path? So.
Yeah. So for me, I started my law practice when I came out of law school because, I graduated at the height of the recession and it was very difficult to get a job. And so I was like, okay, if nobody's going to give me a job because opportunities are limited right now, I'm going to create my own opportunity. And I started my law practice. And, I have to pay bills. And so I hired a mentor to teach me how to do real estate closings. So that way I was generating income to like sustain my business and pay my bills. And so that's how I got into real estate. And then a lot of my clients are like real estate investors. And so that's really how I learned like the real estate investing business on, being a professional providing legal services to real estate investors.
So your clients vary from like developers to folks that have multifamily or doing new construction or everything in between?
Yeah, it varies, like everything in between, because Chicago, Atlanta, they're really big investment markets right now.
Yeah.
And so you've got people doing new construction, you've got people buying multifamily, you've got people, doing opportunity zones. It ranges.
I'm curious to hear from your perspective. We always talk to investors about this, but I'm really curious to hear from your perspective because you're guiding your clients. You're on the other, you're kind of with them, but you're not necessarily like, every day putting the money out. You're guiding them and advising them. What are you finding to be like the temperature of the market? What are you finding to be what's happening? And, what are things that as investors we need to be mindful of? I mean, obviously everyone's talked about this recession that's coming and we don't know when, but be prepared. What would you say in terms of what you're finding? You're in two pretty large markets, right? Chicago and Atlanta, but I'm sure you help folks that are a little bit maybe outside that main market. So what would you say to the ladies listening that are investing and they're active in the market now? What are just some things we need to be mindful of as things might shift and change?
Yeah. So right now, like the landscape is changing. So I'm seeing a lot of people are doing deals, but the way that people are investing now is different from how they used to invest in the past. So you see people that are acquiring properties because they want to be Airbnb investors as opposed to like traditional landlords. And so from like a long-term perspective, if you're shelling out money for that, I would be mindful because like it's unregulated right now in a lot of states, but a lot of states are now starting to like regulate that space. And so that might affect your ability to be an Airbnb investor in the future. And obviously you're investing because you want to make a return on your money. So you just have to be mindful of that. So you don't purchase an asset that later becomes unuseful to you in the sense that you're trying to use it. So that would be like one thing I would definitely say to be mindful of. And then you see like a lot of people now doing like real estate coaching. And I've had a lot of clients that have paid for real estate coaching or given a real estate expert or coach to invest the money for them and have lost that money. So I would just say, just really be careful. You can't trust everybody on the internet that's saying they are a real estate coach or a real estate expert.
Yeah, right. Everybody they watch HGTV and they say, I'm an expert. I've watched all the seasons, and I can do this. It's
Yeah.
clearly I can do this. I think you're making such a good point with Airbnb too, because I always look at the asset. Okay, if I need to rent this place long term, how would that look like? If that does not make sense, I personally would not invest on that property if I cannot make it work with long terms. Even with the cities where the regulation is still, updated, I would say, quote unquote, updated, the latest one, it can change. It can change all the time. So I completely agree with you. I want to jump in and talk about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. I came across the news about you guys when you guys created that crowdfunding, and I think the word crowdfunding sometimes scare people. Sometimes it's a little far away. To break that down, talking about Tulsa Real Estate Fund, how did you guys come up with that option to resolve a local issue?
Yeah, so the founder or the visionary for Tulsa Real Estate Fund, Jay Morrison, he's a real estate investor, developer, and he was one of my clients when I was in Chicago. And so he talked to me about an idea that he had to make real estate investing affordable for the masses, and he wanted to do so through a crowd fund. And so it was like a 2-year process to build and launch Tulsa Real Estate Fund, because it's an SEC regulated crowd fund. So we had to submit filing documents to the SEC to get qualified to raise money from non-accredited investors. So that's how it came to be. And then the process of bringing it to life was like a 2.5-year process.
Wow.
And then, when you're starting any business or getting into any opportunity, you're not really sure how the public is going to respond to it, because there were other, real estate crowd funds out there like Fundrise and some other ones, but they have a higher entry point.
Yeah.
And in the minority market, people don't really invest like that because they don't have access to it. So we really didn't know what the response was going to be, but we just built it anyways. And the response and the support has been phenomenal.
So for the ladies that are listening to us, break it down for us. What was the goal of building that, and how people can contribute?
Yeah, so like I said, the goal for creating Tulsa Real Estate Fund was to create a vehicle that made real estate investing accessible to minority investors, and also provided a means to help to enhance urban communities, because a lot of the real estate developers that we fund and a lot of the real estate assets that we acquire are in urban neighborhoods. And so that was the purpose. And so if people are interested in learning more about Tulsa Real Estate Fund and potentially investing in the fund, they can go to the website, tulsarealestatefund.com. And we provide information about the vision, the mission, the team members, and how they can open up an investment account. And so the minimum to invest in the fund is $500.
Wow.
And then we split the profits with you 50-50, and then it's an 8% preferred return.
So I am somebody that I have $1,000, $500, whatever on my bank account, and I want to do that. How does the process work?
So we have different funding mechanisms. So in some situations, we do acquire actual assets. So we have a single family home that we acquired in New Jersey that was a rehab. And now it's on the market to be sold. We've got multi-family units in Louisiana and a few other places that are being rented out for passive income. So it just depends on the numbers in terms of the specific deal, because we say that we have an 8% preferred return. So a lot of the deals that we invest in or look at are providing 10, 11, 12 or better, just because we have to meet that 8% preferred return. But the assets vary. So they go from single family to multifamily to commercial. And then we also people can borrow money from us for their real estate investment deals. So that's another way that, we help our investors make a return.
That's an interesting concept. So, I mean, I feel like crowdfunding has been around for a long time, but if you ask like just a bit, regular Joe real estate investor, tell me a little about crowdfunding, they would really kind of fumble on their words. They'd kind of give some generalities. They'd give the website Fundrise. Like, I don't think people really get it fully. I think they get the concept, but I don't think they truly get, maybe it's just me, but I don't think they fully get like the benefits, the pros, the cons, because it is a great way for people to begin investing in a less risk, more passive way. So I'm curious from your perspective, you started in a 2-year timeframe, started a fund. You must have, and you're an attorney, so you must know a ton about like the different types of crowdfunding platforms. Are there different types of platforms? Are there things that like the women listening that may want to invest in one of these platforms need to be aware of? Because, some of them are vetted, some of them are not. Are there different approaches to this, obviously crowdfunding kind of theme, if you will, and what are the ladies listening, if they wanted to be more active in crowdfunding, what do they need to keep in mind?
Yeah, like you said, crowdfunding is kind of like a passive way to get into real estate investing. And so you're giving your money to a fund and you're trusting the team behind that fund to make wise real estate investment deals for you. And so one of the things I would say, if you're looking to be an investor in a real estate crowd fund, is definitely like check out the team, see their experience. And then, if there's results, like the internet will show it. And so you also have to be patient though, because like with real estate investing, whether you do it yourself or whether you do it through a crowd fund and have somebody else actively do the investing for you, it's a long-term thing. It's not like you're going to give this money to this real estate crowd fund and generate money like right away. So you have to be prepared to like lose money too. Because that's just the nature of real estate investing in general, if you do it yourself or if somebody else does it for you. But to minimize your risk, you should do your due diligence on the crowd fund that you're about to give your money to.
Got it. There are different types of crowdfunding out there. There's those that have the fund itself, and those that have already the properties listed, and then the investor can invest directly on that specific asset. Do you guys have both, or what are the pros and cons of those two concepts?
Yeah, so every crowd fund, the way that they structure themselves is like different. So some crowd funds will have like specific assets that they're raising money for. And so when you give funds, you're investing into one specific asset, and how that asset performs determines your overall what you receive. And then there are other funds that you just invest in the fund itself. And so then you have ownership in all of the assets that specific fund owns. So everybody does it differently. And, the numbers at the end of the day, it's just about the numbers and the math, right? So sometimes you can make more just being invested in one real estate asset versus having your money diversified across multiple real estate assets. And, they give you like financials and to look at. So you just have to evaluate the numbers.
What are the red flags, for the ladies listening? What are the red flags if they go to some of these platforms? And, there's a lot of them have been around, but some of them are, it's still a newer space. I feel like it's not this like established space. I don't know if you'd agree with me, Johnetta.
No, I would agree, because they came around with the Jobs Act so it hasn't been around for a very long time. So yeah, it's still a new emerging space.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the, women listening and, if they're especially vetting out that more online approach, now obviously they can get into like, different asset classes of people that they know personally, but more on an online space. I don't know, any other tips for vetting the actual team, things that if they start to ask the question X, they would get this answer and be like, hold on, this like makes complete sense. Do you want to see that high level of experience? Do you want to see something else behind them? Some sort of like, okay, if this goes wrong, is this a company or a team that can, get this done, whatever project is on their plate. So I'm curious from your space, because you're on the side of offering these different projects. What have you found to be the things that folks have asked you and your team, and how they established that kind of like, okay, this is something I want to, give my money to, invest my money to?
Yeah. So a lot of times there's like two big questions. And before I answer the question, I would say one thing I notice that people don't really do is sometimes they really get excited about an idea. And because you see something has been established online, I think, and that goes back to my earlier comment about not everybody who says they're a real estate coach is a real estate coach.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people won't read the documents. And with any of these crowd funds, like you get a contract that you need to sign and read, and it tells you a lot about how the business is going to operate, the people behind it, how they plan to make the money. And a lot of times people just won't read it. Yeah. And so I would say you have to start there first. If you're going to really give somebody your money, read the contracts, make sure you understand it. And if you don't understand it yourself, like we've had some people that invested in our funds that hired an attorney to read those documents for them. So they were sure that they understood what they were getting themselves into. So I would definitely say read the contracts and make sure you understand it, because a lot of the information you need will be there. So then outside of just like vetting the team and, making sure that, they can accomplish what they say they can accomplish, or if things go bad, they might be able to like mitigate the risk. The other thing I think that we get a lot with Orfund, they want to see like the financials, they want to, for the specific real estate investment or project. And so I would not just blindly give any fund your money and, trust that they'll invest it well for you. You have to understand the numbers for yourself so you can also assess the risk to see if it is a good financial investment for you to give your money to whatever platform it is.
Yeah. No, that's a great suggestion. And I can't agree more. Reading the documents. I mean, we're also involved with syndications and getting involved in different bigger projects. And, that's an investment of money and capital. And we've had investors in the past, reach out to us and say, I want a refund of my money. I'm like, first off, can't give you a refund.
No.
The language, right? And shame on us.
You did not call Walmart.
Yeah,
but we're not Target. You called the wrong number.
Yes, we cannot refund you that easily.
No. And they're like, tomorrow, I need my money back. We're like, we haven't invested in like 6 different real estate projects, and you kind of knew that it was But anyway, regardless, it's really helpful both to get the education, but also to educate others when you're involved in projects, because people may not read the documents. To your point, and it doesn't mean you have to read it with them, but educate, because you're going to have they're going to be involved with you for a long time. You're going to be involved with them a long time. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't reiterate that enough. Paperwork is,
and it's like a marriage. It's like courting, right? So you want to make sure you fully understand what you're getting into before you get into it, and also only invest, like I said, what you can lose or what you can afford to be without for a substantial period of time. Because like you said, real estate, it's hard to like liquidate the money once it's invested. So
it's a great idea.
Have to be comfortable like not having that money for a while.
Absolutely. We've talked to folks to like over the years, and they'll be like, I have 50 grand to invest. And then you start to really talk through things with them. And then you really get the financial picture. They're like, no, I have only $50,000. And we're like, we'd love to work with you, because obviously we're trying to, work on a project, but you do not need to be investing with us. Like, you need to keep that 50 grand. Like we've told people that who are ready to like literally take their checkbook out and invest in a project. And I'm like, oh no, don't give us your 50. No, we just don't. So it's that financial kind of wherewithal. And I think we all need to be mindful of that. We all can do that in certain ways. We get excited about stuff. We want to do it. We see a way to do it. And, keeping that whole financial picture in mind is really, really important. And not every, fund or, company is going to say, no, we don't want your money.
Right.
So
I think
because they're not qualifying you though either. I mean, because you can be a non-accredited investor
Right.
in these funds, they're not really like checking your financials to see if you can afford this or not. I know on our site we make you self-accredit yourself, and so it caps how much you can like invest in our fund based on the numbers that you report, but not everybody does that. And so you could put yourself in a situation that's like, oh my god, I invested in this fund,
Yep.
and I really need this money to like pay my rent, but you're not going to get it back, or
Wow.
you know, your mortgage or whatever it is that you need to pay for. So I say only invest what you can afford, but that's not just for crowd funds, that's just real estate
Everything.
investing period.
for life, yeah.
Yeah.
Invest what you can afford to lose completely. So from the crowdfunding perspective, I'm just curious to understand, because we all know the lowest the investment is, sometimes more work, the more work it is to deal with that person. So from that standpoint, the $500 at $1,000 person, not an accredited investor, I get that part. How do you guys manage dealing with people that are investing 500, 1,000 to 100, $500,000? Is it the same process, or is there anything different?
Yeah, and so a lot of the, you know, non-accredited investors are new to the real estate investing space or just investing period. And so a lot of time is going to be spent educating them, right, on the process and how things work. And so that was one of the things we did as a fund before we officially launched, is like we really spent like a good year just educating our base on like, you know, this is how things traditionally work. This is how it's going to work with our fund. You know, explaining what real estate terms or investing terms that they needed to know and to understand. And so, you know, by a result of us taking time to educate them, then they became educated investors.
Got it. And do you feel that because they're investing 500 or $1,000, that from the crowdfunding perspective, did they give you a hard time, or it doesn't really matter?
No, I mean, like for the most part, a large majority of our base, because we have like, and that was another thing like we got when we came up with the concept. People were like, oh, you're gonna let people invest for like $500. Like most people don't do that. But we have like over 10,000 investors, because, you know, we have a low amount. And so it's a lot of people to manage. But everybody is, like I said, because we took that time to educate them, everybody is just really like supported. They get it, you know, and they're patient and they understand the process. But I don't think it would have been that way if we didn't educate them from the beginning.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. And I think it also gives them the feeling that they are doing something with their money. A lot of people think about real estate as this like huge, far away goal, but
Yeah.
the way that you guys put it together, I think the crowdfunding itself is providing people the ability to invest in real estate somehow on something that they can really manage.
Yeah, and you see that a lot too, because, you know, Grant Cardone also opened a real estate crowdfund, and before he even launched his, he was on his YouTube channel doing like real estate investment shows or just real estate shows, like educating his base on different terms, how, you know, you can structure different deals. So they also became informed investors in his fund as well.
Yeah. I didn't know he had a crowdfunding space. That's interesting. No, that's awesome. And it's, and I would imagine the role you have in all that is, are you one of the kind of like attorneys for that crowdfund platform, or do you manage, you know, what's your role in all that? I'm curious.
Yeah, so I do review like the legal documents and stuff like that, and consult on like the legal process, but because I helped to start it, I'm an equity owner in the fund. So I'm considered more of a partner in the fund, but I have to be an attorney.
Got it. That's awesome. So you have 2 offices, and how many folks do you work with on your own, you know, law firm team?
Right now it's myself and 2 assistants.
Okay. Yeah. And you're between 2 offices, and you have this fund that you're a partner of. A lot of our show is about, balancing it all, and, you were probably a very busy, active attorney you have a lot of clients, and then you got involved in something new, and when you get involved with something new, something has to give, right? Unless you just have all this free time, which I'm sure you don't seem like the kind of person that is sitting around like, I need something to do. You don't seem like that person. So I'm curious, as your path has unfolded, how have you kept it all in check? And especially as you're going between 2 different offices. I know the ladies listening may have properties out of state they have to travel to occasionally to check in on. Obviously, it's a good thing to do occasionally. Yeah. So how do you manage it all? How do you keep yourself kind of sane and serving all the clients that you have and building this new fund that you have? So what are some of your recipe for the success you've had?
Yeah. So like when I moved down to Atlanta to help start Tulsa Real Estate Fund, I knew that was going to require a lot of time investment. And so I had to scale down on my law practice. I had to, kind of cut back on the number of clients that I could take on and just keep, my current caseload. So that was like one sacrifice that I made to help just to effectively balance. Mm-hmm. And now that Tulsa is like, running and functional, I'm now scaling back up on the number of clients that I service through my law practice. So, sometimes you have to take a step back,
right,
in certain areas of your life in order to focus on the things you're really trying to build or grow or be better at in the moment. And then for me, I try to really incorporate time management. So like, my calendar dictates my life. If it's not on my calendar, it's just not happening. So that's one of the ways I try to keep everything balanced. And I like exercise because I think it's important. And I'm not saying like you have to exercise, but I do think it's important to have like even 30 minutes to an hour out the day where you do like self-care for yourself, whether that's exercising, meditating, hanging out with family. But I do think it's important that you do take some time for yourself because you need your own mental sanity to juggle it all.
Absolutely.
I love that recommendation about, stepping back to step forward. And we don't talk a lot about that because, a lot of us are in one area, but they want to do more over here. In order to go over there and do that, something has to give. And how do you do that? And I think that's a really, really great suggestion. Stepping back is not
right.
It's a strategic step back.
Yeah.
But I think that's hard for women. I do. Maybe it's just hard for me, but it's hard for women to think about stepping. Like, it's almost like stepping. I think you and Jess and I were talking about this, right? A couple months ago, you were at a crossroads with something and you're like, I feel like I'm taking a step back. I'm like, it's a step back, but like to the side, like you have to think about it because it's allowing you to be more effective in other areas. And then,
I always look at that as those, those races where the runner, he needs to kind of like kneel down and then put it back basically in order for him or her to run faster. I always have that analogy in my head, but we don't talk much about it and how important it is to strategically look at it as, okay, I'm not doing this because this just came up and I am reacting to it. So I'm going like backwards. As you're saying, you made the choice and now clearly you can pick up and create a different path. It might not be the path that you wanted before or whatever the situation might be, but the choice is always in our hands.
Yeah, I love that.
But,
yeah. And I mean, as a result of, making that decision, I've been able to, like I said, help to build a multi-million-dollar crowd fund. I now have equity in that I wouldn't have had if I didn't take that step back. I've been featured in Forbes magazine as a result of that, and that wouldn't have happened if I didn't take the step back. And all of these things now I think add value to me in my law practice, and I feel like I'm a better attorney now as a result of, just taking that step back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's a very I think it was a very astute thing. You didn't wait for yourself to be like overwhelmed, right? Because that's what a lot of us do. Again, maybe I'm just speaking personally, but I allow myself, I could take that on. I could do that. I can manage that more in my life. I can, jump into that new thing. Even just Andressa and our Invest Her kind of podcast and community. And it's like a new business.
Yeah.
And then I'm still doing things on our real estate side, right? Our investing business. So it's like, something has had to give, and that's opened up my awareness of, okay, how do we grow this and keep maintaining this? And, how do you make it all work?
Yeah,
But,
and I think just as like, and I don't know how, being a real estate investor is a business, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
I think you reach that point where you're trying to like build the brand, but you still have to like service. And I'm kind of like in that space right now too. It's like I'm trying to work on the business, but I'm like servicing the business. And so like with the podcast, like you guys are growing your brand in order to create more opportunities. And then it's like finding that balance. And I think that's, I struggle as a woman because I also like to think I can do it all. But, sometimes you do have to like delegate out so you can focus on the things that are really going to like move you and the business and the company forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just nailed on the head, because that's something that Liz and I, can we do it? Yeah, we can do it. Should we do it? Probably not. We should focus on the things that our strengths are, and what is going to create or build even more of this community support other ladies around the country. That's our main goal. So the technicality, the administration part should be doing by us, should be doing by somebody else. And we're in the process of it. But as you said, it's always a struggle. You want to make sure that, things are running as they're supposed to. So
I think it's also,
and it also is like a leap of faith, right, too, to delegate, because you have to trust that somebody else is going to do it like you. And then sometimes too, it's that question of finances. Like, if I delegate this out to somebody else, can I really like sustain this? But one thing I've learned is that it does require a team to like really grow. And I think the longer you kind of like hold on to things and not really trust that it's going to work out or have that faith, it kind of slows like the growth.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with more. Yeah.
And it slows your mental growth, and I'm in that space as well. Like, okay, we know we need to hire, this X person, call them, or maybe a couple of people for some of the things in our real estate in business, my husband and I's business. And, the question of, okay, well, how's this going to work? How's that going to work? I'm like, you know what? I don't have to have all the answers today, and that's what I like. My mind already goes to step 4, 5, and 6, when really I'm at step 1. Let's call a spade a spade. I need to just document the role, right? I just have to write it down, but I want to get all the answers and figure it all out before. And I'm like, no, it's steps. And I think the other thing you said which was beautiful. And I think the other thing is, women, it's hard for us to do. And again, speaking personally, is asking for help. And, there's something that I'm working through of like documenting this role. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this by myself. I'm going to ask someone for help. And if I have to pay them and pay them well, I'm going to do it, because I can't do this by myself. Because you know why I can't do it by myself? Because I haven't done it yet. And I've been talking about this for a number of months. So like, if you don't know where you're getting stopped in, like, listen, ladies, if you don't know where you're getting stopped, if you've been talking about something and you haven't done it, that's a good place to start, because something is coming up for you around that. Yeah. Pay someone to help you do it, whatever that is, and have them hold you accountable. Literally, I need someone to hold my hand, physically or not. No, I'm just joking, but literally, and metaphorically, to do this, where I'm documenting this position and creating SOPs. Like, I literally need someone to hold my hand, and I need to pay them to do it, because if not, they're going to help me and be a good friend, but I don't want a good friend. I want someone to coach me through the process or to do it for me. I finally had an epiphany of what I need, and I think you're so right, Johnetta. Like, we try to do all this stuff by ourselves, and we got to stop doing that. Stop it, ladies. Stop doing things yourselves. It's not going to help you.
Proud of you.
And it goes back to the message earlier about that we kicked the podcast off with. It's about your circle, right?
Yeah.
The people that you surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you don't have those women or men in your life that are bringing you to a new level and you're helping them to a new level, then start surrounding yourself with different people. Start going to different places. That's the best way to do it. I mean, it seems kind of obvious, but so Johnetta, you've been amazing. I love the insight you have around, obviously, the crowdfunding business you started and your attorney practice and how you made it all work. I think that was a really, really wonderful, insight you shared. So where can the ladies listening learn more about you, learn more about the fund that you've started, learn about potentially working with you on the practice? I'm sure you'd be a great resource for all things real estate related. So where can they connect with you?
Yeah. So on the real estate fund, on the real estate legal side, they can connect with me at my website, which is jpaye.com. And then on social media, I'm JPAYEESQ. So JPAYESQ on social media. So I give out tips and motivation and stuff on all of my social media. And then I do offer free legal chats. So if people just want to talk to me quickly for 15 minutes about a legal question that they may be having, or a business question, or a real estate investing question, they can definitely go to my website and book a free 15-minute legal chat. And Then on the Tulsa real estate fund side, they can learn more about the fund and possibly investing by going to tulsarealestatefund.com.
That's awesome.
And for tulsarealestatefund.com on social media as well.
Great. And all of this information you guys can find on our show notes. Now we're going to transition to our fabulous 3 questions. And the first one is, what's the most transformational book you have ever read?
The Alchemist by Paul Ocello, I think is his name.
Paulo Coelho? Yeah, he's a Brazilian guy. That's why I know.
Yes.
Yes.
The part in the book, about how he really wanted this desired outcome and how he went on this magnificent journey to bring about it. But I'm sure it's a line that resonates with most people that read the book. But when you really want something, the universe conspires to give it to you. And I truly believe that, because I know when I was 8 years old, I come from an immigrant family. I was the first person to go to college, the first person to become a lawyer. And I didn't have anybody really to show me the ropes, but I just knew in my soul, this is something I wanted for my life. And I just did everything I needed to do to make it happen. And then the universe brought the things to make it happen. So I believe that if it's for you, the universe will bring it about.
Yes, absolutely. Just need to declare what you really want and say, it's not my problem how I'm going to get it. It's the universe problem. The second question is, what's the most powerful routine you do to create a financially free and balanced life?
The most powerful routine that I do. So I am a planner. So I like to write down things. So I just recently even when I moved to Atlanta from Chicago, I had been saving money. So when the opportunity came for me to relocate, I didn't say, oh, I can't take advantage of this opportunity because I don't have the financial resources to do so. I think you should start planning and setting aside money for opportunities so that when they do arise, you're able to take advantage of it.
That's awesome. The latest question is, which women, famous or not, has inspired you the most?
Can I say 2?
Of course.
Okay, well, actually 3. I'm going to do 3. So the first one that came to mind was Oprah Winfrey. And I would say Oprah because she came from a small town, in the South, and she was able to create this destiny for herself that people said wasn't possible. And so that's one of the reasons why I am inspired by her, because I feel I came from a small city in West Africa to the United States. And I've been able to, build this thing that most people didn't think was possible for me. Sure. And then I would say Michelle Obama just being a lawyer, and she's a lawyer. And then lastly, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for my mom. I think she really sewed in me like the value of hard work and self-belief. And I don't think I would have made it as far as I did if it wasn't for those core things that she taught me growing up as a child.
Love it. Johnetta, thank you so much for your insight, your inspiration, your great, just being here with us and sharing all your wonderful, ideas with the women listening. So thank you. Thank you for,
and thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you guys for, creating this platform and, giving other women an opportunity to learn more about real estate investing and just business in general. So thanks for creating this platform. Absolutely.
It was a pleasure having you.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.